In the summer of 1917, a world exhausted by war was desperate for wonder. It was a time when the rise of photography had been met with an equally powerful hunger for the supernatural. People wanted proof that magic had not left the world. And then, in a small village in Yorkshire, England, a small black and white image provided that proof. It showed a 9-year-old girl named Frances, sitting by a stream, while several small translucent fairies danced on the grass before her. This is the incredible story of the Cottingley Fairies, the most famous photographic hoax in history, and the deception that successfully fooled the creator of Sherlock Holmes. The key players were two young cousins, Elsie Wright, 16, and Frances Griffiths, 9. The official story was simple. The girls often returned from the nearby stream, Cottingley Glen, with wet and muddy shoes. Their mother would constantly scold them, so they decided to invent an excuse. They claimed they were out playing with the fairies. When they were mocked, Elsie, a hobby artist, borrowed her father's camera. The goal was simply to provide photographic evidence to their family. They produced 2 photos. The family was amused but ultimately skeptical. The deception should have ended there. But in 1919, the images were shown to a local meeting of the Theosophical Society, and the true cultural wildfire began. The photographs quickly made their way into the hands of a man who desperately wanted them to be real, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the famed creator of the hyper-rational detective Sherlock Holmes. Doyle, in the wake of losing his son and brother in the First World War, had become a fervent believer in spiritualism. He needed proof that life and magic persisted after death. He publicly championed the photographs as absolute scientific proof of the fairy realm. He published the images in a best-selling book, arguing their authenticity with the full weight of his colossal reputation. Doyle's backing turned a local prank into a global sensation. The world was now forced to choose between the cold logic of the photograph and the enduring human need for belief. But for all the intellectual debate, the evidence of the fraud was always laid bare in the photographs themselves. The fairies in the images were, in fact, simple paper cutouts. Elsie, the older cousin, later admitted that she had copied figures from a popular children's book called Princess Mary's Gift Book, pinned them onto hats with hatpins, and then posed her younger cousin. The stiffness of the figures, their 2-dimensional flatness, and the visible supports beneath them were all technical flaws that experts pointed out even at the time. The most damning piece of forensic evidence came from a company that manufactured cameras. They stated that the photographs themselves could not be definitively authenticated because they were taken with a simple amateur camera. They were not forgeries of real images. They were simply photos of paper cutouts. The real puzzle, then, is not how 2 girls produced the photographs. It is why a man of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's intellectual sharpness was so easily convinced. The theory is that he suffered from what we now call confirmation bias. Doyle didn't look at the images as a skeptic. He looked at them as a man who had already decided the answer. His famous rational mind had been entirely eclipsed by his own emotional desire. The 2 cousins maintained their silence for decades, only confessing the truth in the early 1980s when they were elderly women. The enduring mystery is that Frances, the younger cousin, always insisted that one of the 5 photographs was in fact real. A small final defiance, a tiny seed of doubt, which ensures that the relic of the Cottingley Fairies remains not just a hoax, but a permanent, potent symbol of the power of imagination over evidence. It reminds us that even the most rational among us are capable of believing the incredible, when the unbelievable is what we truly need. Thank you for joining us on this investigation into the annals of history's greatest riddles. If you crave more evidence-driven analysis, be sure to subscribe.